Maybe the statue. Yeah, it could be. I'll have to call up a couple people and see if we're the only ones to have found this place. It was pretty visible from the water, but maybe just from that one angle. That one spot that you chose to fish, I thought to say, but didn't. We came over a ridge, and sure enough, there it was again. Only this time, we could see the whole thing. Up ahead of us, in a clearing, was a massive, towering statue of an owl. It was difficult to judge, but this was no totem pole. It was as wide as a house at its base, standing, imposing, and impossibly way out here in the middle of nowhere. At the base of the huge, terrifying owl statue was what appeared to be a dais, pulpit, pews, and an altar off to the side of the lectern. That was when I noticed. There were people watching us from near the statue, their clothing blending in with the bark of the trees. I saw several figures in brown hooded robes, their faces shrouded in darkness. Sickle-shaped knives from their deep pockets and began to march towards me. I looked, horrified, towards Gilbert's face. He was wearing a knowing look, saying that I'd been right to not trust him. He didn't appear surprised to see any of this, and he didn't even bother to try and stop me when I ran, screaming. Instead, his head just turned on a slow swivel, watching me go.
This episode is brought to you by HP.
Insure your home and car with surprisingly great rates. Because you don't have to give up what you love for great insurance.
A repulsive-looking thing, deep brown in color, further obscured by the darkness of the water. It has a wide, gaping lower jaw and rows of thin, needle-like teeth and soulless black eyes. And that little light.
The mic is on, honey. It just took me a second to kind of click my head back in the right direction for thought processing.
A spark of false
I was kind of zoning out for a second.
Sees its shine. The shine of the Arctic anglerfish. Harris imagined being the first to secure accurate readings for the hypothesized deep-sea migration of the fish, despite them being notoriously solitary creatures. If he was correct in his predictions, the fish would be making their passage through the water nearby in a few days' time. He fantasized about the implications his research would have on understanding the behavior of deep-sea predators as a whole. I'm sure he was excited about the awards he would be in line to receive. "She was spotted again today," a loud voice said at the back of the room. Harris jumped up from the tank, turning and pushing his glasses back up his nose. "Who?" Harris asked automatically, but in truth, he had a pretty good idea. "You know what I'm talking about," came the reply. From the laboratory door, a man taller and broader than Harris. "That girl, the one the researchers keep seeing in the ice." His name was Gould, and he took delight in how easy it was to bother and unsettle his colleague. "There's no girl," Harris replied uncomfortably. "I said this before. Refractions in the light caused by ice crystals." Gould took a step into the room and waved his hand dismissively. "Yeah, sure. Forget the fact that 3 separate teams have all seen the girl for themselves and all say the same thing." "Gould, come on," Harris replied. "You're a man of science. Do you really believe that?" "I believe in the evidence presented to me, as all scientists should," Gould interrupted with a level stare. "You might choose to do otherwise, but that's none of my business." "No, that's not..." Gould gestured to the fish tank at the back of the lab. "You're at risk of becoming so obsessed with your readings that you miss the true wonders of this world. I know what I'm going to be doing tonight, and it ain't measuring the movements of an ugly fish in a tank by myself. I'm going to see if I can find the girl. I want to see if she's real, and I'll be sure to let you know if she's a cutie." He winked and then turned to leave the room, whistling as he did so. Harris fumed for a minute, suddenly embarrassed by his fantasies of the success of his research. He packed away his equipment and finished up his writings. He was still irritated by the things that Gould had said to him. I believe in the evidence presented to me, as all scientists should. You might choose to do otherwise, but that's none of my business. Harris thought about those two particular phrases over and over again all day and through the night. God damn it. Gould always knew what to say to really stress him out. Is that how people thought of him? Did they not take him seriously as a scientist? Eventually, it became too much. With his jaw clenched, Harris threw off his sheets and clambered out of bed, pulling on his winter gear and Arctic boots and face mask. He opened the door to his dorm and strode out down the corridor, past the security guard dozing at the front desk.
Yeah, I swear that rooster just tried to attack
Professor
me.
Harrington, the guard said.
Preemptive strike against the rooster.
It's Harris, actually, but yes, nice to see you. The professor replied politely. Off for some night work, eh? Well, yes, I suppose. Of sorts. I'll be back within the hour. My GPS is on. The guard replied with a quick, informal salute. Best of luck to you. And Harris carried on along his way, pushing out through multiple sets of doors, each segment of corridor growing colder and colder, until he had stepped out from the building and into the snow beyond. It was a windless night, and snow fell silently all around. Harris took a deep, full breath of cool night air and marched out into the wilderness, following the path of the flags laid out by previous explorers. They stood about 50 meters apart, not blowing in any breeze and still plainly visible. He trudged through the snow, his breathing loud in the vastness of the landscape. Glancing up, he saw the row of flags break into two. The orange flags carried on along their way, and a new line of flags.
Okay, let me turn that down a little bit.
Off into the haze to
Is that better?
These he followed. Lead him past the circle of ice. The circle of ice which supposedly housed.
I'll turn it down a little bit.
That's where she was seen every time in the movies. And now it was Harris's turn to go and bitterly take a look for himself. He followed the path of flags, passing on his left an immense glacial wall, striking up tall and jagged in the snow-streaked sky. Beautiful, and yet...
Time to raid again.
Harris followed it down the stairs, and then turned his attention back to the way ahead. It wasn't long before he found what he was looking for. A place where the ground beneath his feet was incredibly thin. Not thin enough to fall through, of course, but thin enough to see down into the dark of the water below. Harris's heart had begun to pound, though he wasn't entirely sure why. He looked around. There was no one else, just him.
Damn, there were a lot of them waiting to meet us right at the gate there.
The researchers saw glimpses of movement.
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Harris bent about 10 and it paused. And with a sigh, he leaned back, resting on his feet. What the hell am I doing? He thought.
Okay, I'm gonna go get him.
I can't believe I allowed myself to get pressured out of bed and go all the way out here in the middle of the night, looking for something nonsensical and as impossible as a girl. It was a good view, though.
Somebody already got him. Okay.
Just watching the stars.
Whatever.
And was about to clamber back up.
Yeah, because it would totally work that way. But okay.
When a flash of movement by his feet caught his attention. Below his feet. The fuck? He muttered out loud, taking a step back in fearful retreat. There was a blur. He could have sworn that there was a blur in the water. But already he began to doubt himself. He calmed his nerves. He prepared to turn and walk away for a second time. And as he did so, he saw her. He shouted out, but he found himself
building is on fire. Got it.
Frozen in place and staring down
way up there? Okay.
The girl floated silently on the opposite side.
Alrighty.
Her hair was long and white and flowed out.
Okay, I see what's going on.
She couldn't be older than 19 or 20. It was difficult to tell through the ice, but he could see her eyes, wide.
There we go.
She was dressed in a long, white, flowing robe.
Right here.
And she lifted a hand to press her fingers on the ice underneath. Holy shit! Harris blurted out, dropping back to his knees. Are you okay? Can you hear me? Do you need help? He put his hand against the ice, and the girl in the water moved to match her hand to his. She looked up at him. The strings of Harris's heart were pulled suddenly tight.
Right.
She was,
let's do it.
to put it bluntly, beautiful. The longer he looked at her, the more obvious this truth became. She was enchanting, alluring, one might say. How is this possible?
Alright, we're gonna try for at least one more raid and then call it at this for now, because I'm 275 out of 10, by the way.
This doesn't make any sense. The girl traced her fingers across the barrier, and then began
So we're gonna be able to
fidget
hit like one more location and then we're gonna be at capacity.
Harris shouted, jumping to his feet. Please, wait! She dropped into the deep and disappeared.
Let's wait for everyone to get back.
Come back! He yelled, but there was no answer. His words were
There we
lost
go.
to the snow, falling thicker and faster with every minute. The cogs turned in the scientist's brain, and he spun around on the spot, hastily making his way back to base. He didn't get any sleep. He spent it planning and obsessing over the girl, on how to get her out.
It's raining!
To break the ice. His efforts did not go unnoticed. The researchers who worked around the circle of ice were at first quite happy to know that there was someone new to confirm their but this pleasure quickly withered as the depths of Harris's obsession became clear. Gould took interest in the sudden change in Harris's demeanor.
That's what I'm currently wielding, honey. It's actually what I'm currently wielding.
He'd already planned out how he was going to bring up the subject with the team in charge of the site. He knew he'd need the backing of the researchers who had seen the girl for themselves. But those guys only saw
So we do have to go back the other way.
shapes in the water.
I have to bring the sail back out to beat this current, though.
He had met her. His training as Gould clapped a hand on his back. Hey Harris, what's up with you? You've been all over the place today. Your fish migration thing isn't for another 3 days, right? And I thought you were nearly finished. Don't tell me you left it all till the last minute. No, of course not, Harris replied, trying to squirm away. I have another project I'm working on. It's important. Is that so? And what would that be? A little late in the game to start something new, no? I took your advice. Gotta seize the moment. I don't know when I'll be back in the Arctic after all. Gould narrowed his eyes. You took my advice? That's right.
Quite possibly.
Avoiding eye contact as he gathered
I think I will.
his teeth.
I'm not sure for how much longer yet, but yes.
You saw the girl beneath the ice. Harris finally lifted his gaze. He wanted to keep the girl's existence.
That looks like the area specifically I was looking for. So let's raid the crap out of it.
He saw the truth. He opened his mouth in surprise. My God, you did see her. Is that what this is all about? So she's real?
See, watch as soon as my character encounters an enemy hunt, he'll draw the double two-handed swords.
She showed herself to me. Gould just shook his head.
See, here we go.
I thought you were a man of science. This isn't science. There's no hypothesis here. You just want to what? What exactly is your plan here? Break the ice and get her out into the air? Harris, you realize that there must be a rational explanation for this. She won't be what you think she is. I know what I saw, Harris replied. And he summoned his courage. And I would advise you to stay out of my way. Gould raised his eyebrows. Harris braced, expecting a response. The man just smirked and left the room. Tentatively, Harris continued with his work, doing his best to stay awake, until at last he collapsed against his desk and fell into a deep sleep. He was on his phone. He groggily reached over for it, and he realized at the time This was the exact moment he had seen the
Yep,
girl.
I forgot I gotta bust the door open, so that can happen.
In a panic, he jumped to his feet, knocking over his chair, rushing to grab his winter gear. "Evening, Professor," said the security guard as he passed him by.
Ah, shit, there's a young Viking that's down.
But Harris did not reply this time.
Alrighty.
He only sped right past and pushed on into the snow.
Let's go get him up.
As he followed the flags as before. He looked down at his watch. Come on, he muttered, terrified that he was going to miss his chance to see it again. He passed by the great glacier and then stumbled to a stop as he looked ahead and down at the circle of ice. There was someone else there, someone facing away from him, looking down at the ice beneath their feet. Harris raced towards the figure. "Hey!" he called out. "Hey, who goes there?" The figure turned his voice. He shot the surprised Harris a quick grin before looking back down to the water. And just as Harris arrived next to him, panting and out of breath, he caught the flicker of pale movement in the water. She was shimmering white in the darkness, and then she was gone. "No," he murmured, dropping to his knees.
And that's a lot of stuff to loot
Come
from.
back, please.
And again, that's a big part of why I like these river raids.
He said. "You've fallen for her, haven't you, Harris? You sad, lonely excuse of a man." The breeze turned sharp as Harris looked up to the man beside him. "You've actually fallen for this scientific anomaly, this non-entity. There's got to be some cause of hallucination around here, caused by melting ice, releasing crystals or something similar. Who's to say we even saw the same girl? I saw what I was expecting to see. She's a fragment of light, as you yourself said the other day.
Oh,
Imaginary.
okay.
Nothing more."
Shit, that's two of them down.
He raised to his feet.
Let's get one up first.
He knew that there might be some truth in what his adversary was saying. "I know what I saw," he said. "I trust the judgment of my eyes and ears, not some fantasy illusion crystal or any other nonsense." He snarled and jabbed a finger into Harris's face. "You're a fool and a joke." Heading for the route back to the base, Harris lingered a little longer. The girl might return. Alas, she did not.
Well, that's pretty much why I chose them, because they're awesome to see in action, but they're incredibly efficient weapons, too.
He had to create an excuse, though, as no one really believed that there was some girl trapped beneath the ice. The migration of anglerfish was due to pass.
Damn, they were right near the entrance there just waiting for us. Get over here! Is that all of them? I guess so.
This was the true purpose of his study here, and its passing by coincided with the night he was planning to save.
Okay, yeah.
Could he really throw
That's
away
right.
all his work just like that? Could he abandon his
Shit,
duties?
okay.
And his second concern was Gould. The man had claimed to have seen the girl too, perhaps even to have connected with her the way that Harris had. And this troubled him. It scared
So I gotta let that one go then, it seems, because I don't have the capacity for any more. That actually kind of sucks, but that means I gotta call an end to the raid here, even though it's not done. Kinda don't have much else of a choice, though, even since I already have a full cargo hold.
Harris returned to the ice to look for her, but he found nothing. He found nothing, and yet he was sure in his convictions that he would break through the ice, and the girl would come up to the surface. She would answer his questions. A supposed impossibility would be explained, and who knows? Who knows what else might develop between them? The night came. Everyone had been rolled and driven into place the day before. Everything was ready for the morning operation that Harris had so meticulously, yet so rapidly planned. He opened his eyes and climbed out of bed.
Well, that's the idea, hun. That's the idea. River 7.
He rubbed his eyes and hauled on his winter clothes, making his way down the corridors of the base. The security guard tipped his hat and nodded to the man. Harris attempted a weak swat.
Okay, so that's a new record for me for number of areas raided in one go. That's a big record for me there.
His mind was rushed with conflicting thoughts. A huge part of him wanted to be at the station he'd planned to be at weeks before, to gather the readings on the migration, to complete the purpose of his study. He might get some useful information tomorrow morning, sure, but the bulk of his research was supposed to have been gathered tonight. He paused at the intersection of the trail of flags. Continue on following the path of the orange, or turn left and head after the girl. The girl. You have to save the girl. By tomorrow, it might be too late. She came to you, Eris. To you. His jaw set. The man turned and hastened his way down the trail and past the
Hey Google, turn bulb 2 to white.
Sure, changing bulb 2 to white.
Effort as he ascended the little hill.
Yeah, I just found out earlier today, hun, that I can actually change the color that way.
He saw to his horror that the ice was already broken. He saw the drills and the dividers used to keep the ice apart. He saw the blinking green lights of the machinery and the vibrating generator giving power to everything. And there, in control of it all at the panel,
you're done with that yet,
Gould.
okay.
No! Harris shouted down at him, but Gould did not respond. The man did not even look his way. He simply walked, as if in a trance, to the edge of the ice, to the hole that had been created there, and the dark, deep water that lapped near his feet. Harris could only watch with fury, and then despair, as he saw a flickering pale blur appear in the water nearby. It drew closer and closer, until it became obvious that it could only be the girl. Harris found his legs and began running across the snow towards him as fast as he could. Leave her alone! He would not allow Gould to take her away from him. He would not. But he could only watch as the girl rose up and out of the water. A figure of light and beauty. Her hair glowing as white as the snow, as the water dripped from her body.
I was glad you're back.
He reached out a hand to Gould, staring up into his eyes. And the man took it. He placed his hands in hers. Harris was struck with a terrible pain in his heart, an anguish he had never felt before. As quickly as this feeling had arisen, it began to subside in place of another. He stumbled to a halt, several meters from Gould's position. His cries dried in his throat as he stared in bewilderment and terror. Gould was enraptured. Despite his mocking words from the other night, it was now perfectly clear that the girl had had exactly the same effect on him as she did on Harris. Gould was totally and utterly taken by her, blind to all else as he stared into her face.
Yay!
He no longer touched the ground. The water dripped from her toes as she continued her ascent, her hand caressing the man's jaw. It was her now who was looking down at him. But what Gould didn't see, and what Harris could, was the enormous,
moderate,
twitching,
okay.
black spine
Alright then.
protruding out between the girl's shoulder
Let's
blades.
see.
It arced out behind her and disappeared down into the darkness of the water. A hideous, disgusting blight
Alright,
on the
let's
acres
go.
of surrounding snow. Harris tried to call out and found that he couldn't. He was frozen completely to the spot with terror. He could only watch as Gould tried to gently pull his hands away. He watched as Gould tried to pull back a little harder. The longing and worship in his face flickered away as panic began to rise. Harris watched as Gould tried to get away. He cried out in alarm, slipping and stumbling down to the ice. One of his feet landed in the water with a splash. He twisted and turned and tried to scramble away as the girl looked down into his face. She rose up higher and higher. The long black spine protruding out from her back became longer and longer, pushing aside the freshly cracked slabs.
Honestly, that was the same thing I figured out too, and honestly, that was the first thing that actually kind of got me wanting to purchase some of them, honestly.
Had seen something like it.
So I was like, color change, and I can control them by sound. Yeah, I want some of those. Control them by, you know, by verbal commands. That's, yeah, I want that.
Of the water pouring from its spines and bristles. It had a wide, gaping lower jaw and rows upon rows of enormous, needle-like teeth and soulless black eyes. The screaming and terrified ghoul squirmed about on the snow. It's a giant anglerfish. The girl had never looked so lifeless. She was an object. Eris realized to his horror and dismay. She was not alive. Not independently alive, at the least. Gould struggled and screamed. He looked over to Harris. "Help!" He cried out in a terrible panic. "Help me!" But there was nothing Harris could do. The long spine, or stalk, would be a better word, that was connected between the girl's shoulders was suddenly drawn back. Gould was dragged across the ice towards the water, towards the gaping, dark, and unforgiving jaws of the monster within. "No!" He roared as he was launched into the deep. The water splashed, and the screams became trapped within the water. The great anglerfish drew back and sank beneath the water, devouring its prey.
Well, debatably so, I guess.
The light at the end of its stalk drew dutifully back down with him. Harris did not go after her, of course. He merely sank down to his knees at the ice's edge, staring down into the water below.
I screwed the butch on that one a little bit.
In the water, he saw what he had
Uh-oh.
before.
Nope, can't go that way. Okay.
Dozens upon dozens
Well, they can be a
upon
lot of different colors, hon. Like, I feel like we can maybe use those, maybe Halloween, Christmas, that kind of stuff. You know, like color specific for holidays, essentially.
and amongst them, floating with the current, were copies of the girl, all the exact same, and pale in the darkness.
Am I gonna be able to go over there?
Hey
Let's
guys,
see.
be sure to check out my new podcast called The SCP Experience for more interesting stories. It's 100% inspired by the
What do you
SCP
think you're
Foundation.
doing?
If you'd like to check it out, just search The SCP Experience.
Trying to navigate a really, really tiny pathway. That's what I'm trying to do.
Talk to nicely.
The woman who answered the door when I knocked had tears in her eyes. She clutched her housecoat tighter.
What's wrong?
Mrs. Burton, I'm Agent Barnes. May I come in, please? She regarded me, staring coldly at my face.
Yep. Can't make it that way. Okay.
From the FBI.
What do you think you're doing?
Trying to navigate us out of here now. Shut up.
Pulling up on her.
What's wrong with you?
After examining her for a while, she turned and walked with a hopeful look around the neighborhood before finally
Are you feeling
the
all right?
screen door. I stepped down the staircase and entered the house. The home was good. It had old, comfortable furnishings. The walls were covered
What do you think you're doing?
with barbecues.
Trying to get us out of here now. Shut up.
It looked like a peaceful place, not an abusive household or an cluttered office. I took out my notepad and scribbled something Do you mind if I sit down?
Damn it.
She showed me into the room.
What's wrong?
I took a seat on the couch.
I think it's clear we can't go down that path.
And no. But anyway, instead of sitting down opposite me, she chose to remain standing, making me feel oddly nervous. I tried to ignore that sensation, but it didn't throw me off slightly. Most people sit down when they do.
What do you think you're doing?
What can I do for you exactly? Well, I was hoping to ask you a few questions about your son's disappearance. I understand you went missing from his
Uh-huh. It got stuck at first because I started following a path I thought I could follow. But then I saw what looked like the fractured landscape, which essentially meant I had hit the edge of the memory thing here within the Animus. So essentially I had hit the end of area barrier, I guess we could call it, for lack of better wording.
Already I felt like my entire preconception of the case was wrong. My theories were immediately forgotten.
Oh, screw you guys too. Oh, I don't think so. You got your target, but you will lose it too.
It seems impossible. Unless there's something more telling us. The door left open, a window, a neighbor.
Wow, that's a ways off yet.
Something. You have to try to remember. There's None of the windows or doors were unlocked. I'm sure about that. And you're sure he didn't sneak out after dinner to play with friends? No one would blame you if that were the case. Kids that age like to go out in the forests, run around, and get into trouble. Are you sure he was in his room that night when he went to bed? I'm sure. I tucked him in myself. I'm not a drunk or a druggie eating Barnes. I'm not a neglectful mother either. I didn't forget seeing my son in bed that night. Just like I didn't forget to lock up.
Naval chain. Naval chain, so we gotta raid this area and take out that chain to continue onward. Alrighty. Let's do it. Now let's destroy that chain since we're already here.
Do you have children, Agent Barnes? Yes, son.
Okay.
What it would feel like to have it taken from you.
There we go. Chain's taken out. Now let's clean house.
It's just as well. Change of paper. The room was painted a pale blue shade.
What else we got here?
And there was a small bed in one corner. A desk with a computer sitting at it. A gaming console. And a small
Okay, yeah, there's nothing else here. We just had to come in and do that, get that naval chain undone. That seems to be all we really had to do there. Already on it, honey. Alright, everyone accounted for? Yep. Okay, then let's move out.
He kept begging me for one, but I told him he wasn't old enough. She broke up suddenly, her face screwing up into a grimace of sorrow. If I just let him have it to himself, maybe she let me do that without pulling away. Even if you had, he wouldn't have had it on while he was sleeping. You can't blame yourself for that, I told her, feeling suddenly more and more on her side. And just so you know, my son doesn't have a cell phone either. I told him the same thing. The woman bitterly, hugging herself tighter. She turned her eyes up to the ceiling, trying to dry the tears within them, as if she couldn't bear the thought of leaving.
Alrighty, I want to try and hit this area specifically, the one with the green question mark if I can. Because that apparently has something that apparently is important that I have to get. Apparently. For the life of me, I don't know what the hell it is yet, though.
No, I told the officers he isn't like that. He's a good boy. Was now hanging over the inside. I was drawn towards that darkness and began to walk across the room towards the closet.
Got the bunny. Okay. Ooh. You'll pay for that one, you cheeky little shit. Maybe I do. What of it? Maybe I want the whole thing. Get over here. Oh, I'd absolutely adore it if there is, hon. I'd absolutely adore that. I can't imagine it being any sort of cheap, but I'd love to do it at least once.
I see. And so we came out here and told you all that, and then what happened? I went back to here. And I turned the light on, opened his closet to show him. There was nothing inside. He said the monster was very large, that it pretended to be shadows. I started hunting.
let me go that far back, I guess is my question.
And I changed his sheets and went back to bed. Brian wanted to stay with me and watch.
Nope, there's the barrier. It won't let me.
He didn't want to go back to his room.
Okay.
But I...
Not as far as I would need to go anyway,
What time
to be able to get there.
2 o'clock in the morning. He had to get up for school the next day.
There we go.
Then broke outside once again. Opening the closet door, I peered inside. The darkness permeated the whole space like a thick, oily cloud of smoke. Far more black and terrifying than it should have been. As if that darkness were a living thing, camouflaging itself there. Pretending to be just a closet.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like the boy had claimed.
Absolutely, honey.
Shook my head, trying to clear these thoughts away. They were
You got it.
Can you turn the light on any brighter than that?
Alrighty, there we
It's all
go.
the way up. This stupid light can't seem to even after I replace it, I'll have to get an electrician over here one of these days. I showed him into the dark space. The oily blackness retreated almost reluctantly, as if in a delayed reaction that shouldn't have been possible. I blinked my eyes twice, trying to decide if I was seeing things. My heart was suddenly hammering, and the palms of my hands were sweaty as I stared at the darkened space through the dim beam of my flashlight. It seemed to be malfunctioning, weak compared to its usual strength. I smacked it a few times and tried to remember when I'd last replaced the batteries. "Can you feel it too?" she asked from behind me, nervously. I wanted to turn around and look at her, but was afraid to leave my back exposed to that darkness. I know it's crazy, but ever since that night, I can't help it. Maybe he was right. Can you feel it? Something staring at you.
That's a stronger current over there. Alright.
No, man. It just looks like a random bedroom closet to me. You feel like there's something in there looking at you. Not just here. It does. It's watching both of us right now.
Take the bad stuff.
Satisfying clicking of the suddenly, we both looked around in a hurry, and I excused myself momentarily. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and didn't recognize my own face staring back. There were bags beneath my eyes and my skin looked slightly yellow and gray. Before I could do anything, the nausea arrived. Getting down on my knees, I reached into the dark. Black bile like molasses poured out of me, sticky and tenacious like dawn.
Alright, let's do this.
And flushed the toilet again and again to no avail. I stumbled out of the bathroom, drunk feeling and dizzy, but still wanting to finish my interview. I needed to at least try. She was waiting for me in the kitchen, standing by the sink. I stumbled into the room and felt it spinning all around me. I hit my head with both hands. I tried to force myself to see straight. Just a couple more questions, I said. She didn't see the black bile coating my tongue. My heart was pounding far too quickly, and I tried to ignore the fact that something was potentially very seriously wrong with me. I was still completely in denial of it at that point. You don't look well, Agent Barnes. You look gray in the face. Are you all right? Fine. I'm fine. Now, can you tell me about Brian's father? I understand he passed away several years ago. Did he have any family? Close friends? She shook her head at me, as if none of these questions mattered. And she was right in a way. They didn't. The interview didn't lead anywhere, and I couldn't focus on anything she said. Soon I was back out on the street again, the memory of the end of the interview gone entirely from my mind. It was like I had been on autopilot without realizing it, and I didn't like that feeling. as if someone else had been driving the car, and I had been asleep behind the wheel. I had a very strong suspicion that whatever had happened to Brian would not be a solvable crime. And if it was solved, those findings would not be suitable for research. This had redacted written on
Hey, look at that.
assuming it ever made it up the chain of command. If I told my supervisors what I had just experienced, they wouldn't believe a word of it.
Save some for me, guys.
So it wasn't expected of me to
Come on, I like burning shit too.
lend a hand if I could. Most of my cases ended up remaining unsolved, so it didn't require much explanation if I wasn't able to do anything useful. I had terrible brain fog for the rest of the trip, getting contemptuous looks from the local police detectives whenever I suggested anything I felt might be useful. Everything had been tried before, at the sounds of it, and I began to feel as if I had overstayed my welcome. The flight back home was a red-eye, and I tried to sleep.
Hey, boy! What's that down there?
Dream plagued with nightmares. I kept dreaming I was a kid again.
Okie dokie.
Not only that, my closet door came swinging, creaking loudly, the wood swinging back and forth as if blown by an impossible wind. I stood up on my child legs to go over to it, but found myself frozen with fear, staring at the blackness within the closet. That deep, penetrating darkness, which seemed to spread out in all directions. And then, as I reached out my trembling hand for the door handle to close it,
In due time. In due time.
gnarled hand, rotten and macerated. The flesh was pale, bluish purple, mottled, and covered in wounds, seeping and oozing with blood and pus. As I tried desperately to pull away, fighting it with all my strength, I felt plunging into the depths of it. When I woke up, I was screaming, and the airplane had just begun to descend. The flight attendants gave me a look which told me my terror was not appreciated. By the time I got home that night, it was almost dark, and well past my sleep. So I poured myself a drink and sat down on the couch,
He's out.
hoping to distract myself from the things I had seen, and from the dreams I couldn't unsee. I wanted so badly to forget that.
Come and make me.
That rotten corpse hand grabbing hold of my wrist and squeezing. I felt as if I could feel that even after I had woken up. There was something tightening around my arm, like a freezing vice. I looked down at my arm to see a handprint there. It was slightly bruised. It was faded like it was old. And yet, I hadn't seen it really. What the hell? What's happening to me? I asked myself, standing up in peace. Despite trying, I went
That looked painful.
popping it open and chugging its contents. I felt so thirsty all of a sudden, like I hadn't drank in days. But I didn't want water. It was disgusting. The bottle was empty, and so I grabbed another, and another, draining them both. Soon I was on my fourth, and then it was empty. The rest of the six-pack was gone 2 minutes later, loud enough to wake the dead
There we go.
after I had finished polishing it off. Still thirsty. I pulled out an old, dusty bottle. Drinking straight down. The usual burn of an absent man. Instead, it just felt like heat in my belly afterwards. Suddenly very tired, I stumbled off the bed, but not before peeking into Greg's room to check on him. It was around 3 a.m. by that point. He was fast asleep. And his closet door
Okay.
was closed. I made sure.
God, I'm glad friendly fire isn't a thing in this game. I would have accidentally killed a few of my troops quite a few times.
Didn't have his own key. He didn't have
Ooh. Nice.
The police came to investigate.
Damn, we might have to plan a trip like that at some point. It's gonna be a long ways off, but I would love to do it. before we get anywhere with an idea like that. But yeah. God, I'd love it. Uh-oh, and I just let a wild boar loose. Okay, well, there we go. Easily enough taken care of. And he's done. You first.
You're not the man I married! I need to go. I just need to get out of this house for a while. Are you coming back? I don't know.
You missed.
Grabbing her shoulder and squeezing a little harder than I meant to. I stopped. Asking myself.
Damn, send him through a crate, too. Bonus points, I guess, on that one.
Half the time you're not here, and the other half is your thoughts. You don't even hear the words I'm saying when I talk to you. My son has been missing for days. Since you have left nothing. There's nothing we can do.
Yes, please do, honey, please do. Nah, in due time, though. In due time.
It's like you've given up. You drink. When you're not drinking, you're missing for hours at a time. I'm going out looking for him. Just stay, please. She rolled her eyes, not believing my lies. When you get your shit together, you call me. Until then, I'll be staying with my sister. Goodbye, Teddy. She opened the glass door and let it slam shut behind her as she marched towards the door.
That is one of ours, okay.
My sister pulled up a moment.
The big one with the scythe there, hon, for a second there, I thought that was an enemy troop, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's my lieutenant.
They drove on, and just like
That's why I kind of got off the ladder for a bit, just to be kind of sure. Hi. Missed. Missed again.
a shadow had been taken up residence. Not to mention, his lunch on the other side of me. I couldn't help but wonder if I was serving as an incubator for some malicious creature.
Simple enough to bypass. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be that easy, but I'll take it.
Whatever the thing was, it had taken not just my child, but at least one other, maybe more. But it was working on taking my life, erasing it in bits and pieces. I would lose chunks of time now and war, and the periods of mental absence were growing longer the more frequent by the year. I marched towards my son's room, threw open the door, turning on the light.
Not yet.
But I had done that several times already.
Soon enough it will,
Just as the
though.
mother of the missing child in my investigation had said about her son's life, I too would need to call an electrician. Although I doubted that would help, I had to try. The darkness was already spreading
Yay!
into the home, like a malicious plague made of shadows. What do you want from me? I asked the empty room, my eyes fixed on the closet door. I had put a deadbolt on it to keep it closed, but it began to slide across.
Okay, he's there somehow. We gotta get over.
My sideways gravity.
How though?
Why did this plan? I rushed across the room and pulled it closed.
I think I see how. He's in that blocked off area, that cowardly little bastard.
Pure darkness. I stopped in my tracks, not wanting to get any closer. My heart
That cowardly little bastard is hiding from us.
now.
Okay.
Like a child staring into the shadows of my bedroom closet late at night, hearing sounds from within it.
Alright, let's fix him up.
Paper, like old snakeskin, poisonous midnight reptile, growing larger by the day. I asked for the empty closet. My voice was just above the I was backing up, now trying to get away. Whatever the thing was, it was huge.
Ooh, clever, clever.
The voice sounded
Okay,
like
hi.
the sunset. Direction to
Bye bye.
purely out of instinct. But then I snapped at myself. Something about the voice was different. A slight distortion, like it had been played through a guitar pedal. No, it's not. It can't be. No response came back. And then there was something staring at me from the shadows. Not my son, but something else mimicking his voice. I stepped out of the room quickly and closed.
There we go.
The hallway was noticeably darker now, as if that plague had spread.
And I looted the chest.
Further outwards into the rest of the house. There was no stopping it.
Oh, I already got him.
Tried to slow it down.
Got him right on my way in.
And the dining room grabbed a chair.
He was hiding behind a barred door. Now I go get you out here, you cowardly little bastard.
First, I wanted to make a couple of phone calls.
It's gotta be one. Oh, that's why. Okay. I was gonna say there had to be a hostile still alive, but no, apparently at this point, all it is we have another resource chest to grab. That's about it, though. Looks like all the enemies are dead, though.
And told me to call if I needed it. After I came up with him, I dialed another number. I hoped to contact the woman I had visited a few days prior in my capacity as an FBI agent.
Here we go.
She had acted quite strangely.
Hey, come
And
here,
had known about the shadow entity, whatever it was.
Can we get this back to that here?
This had all started. Hello, Agent Barnes. She answered, knowing it would be me despite the fact that my FBI issued cell phone blocked. Mrs. Barnes, I'll
Go.
ask you a few follow-up questions. It silently for me to continue. Several moments passed, and I wondered if she hung up. Mrs. Barnes, ask away, Agent Barnes. I'm curious, though.
Where's the boat? There it is.
You didn't
That's the way to
know
it,
last time I
anyway.
saw you. Fine. I'm fine. I'm sure you are. Mrs. Burke, can I ask you about your husband again? We skipped past that last time. You said you were married. Where was he when I came by? At work? My husband passed away Agent Barnes. He caught some sort of illness. The doctors couldn't figure it out. It consumed him from within, like a flesh-eating bacteria. Goosebumps settled. Flesh of my arms.
Yes, that was entirely unnecessary, by the way.
Is that what it was? Necrotizing fasciitis? No, not like that. Like I said, they couldn't figure it out. They'd never seen anything like it before. All I remember is by the end, they wanted him out of the hospital. They were trying to convince us to take him home to die. Whatever was wrong with him, it was scaring the nurses. The doctors, too.
Hey! Hey!
I found my voice would suddenly clutter my throat, and I was unable to speak. It's the same thing that's infected you, Agent Barnes. Don't ask me why it didn't take me. Maybe it doesn't like women for some reason. Maybe it is a bit like a serial killer. It takes only certain types of victims. Again, I couldn't speak. Stay out of the hospital. They won't be able to help you. And you'll only spread it further. Goodbye, Agent Barnes. Don't call here again. I can't help you. No one can. As the phone disconnected, so did I. That was the last. When I regained consciousness, I was back in my son's bedroom.
Yes.
I stumbled out of the room and looked for a chair back beneath the door handle. They were all gone. Missing from the house. All the lights were out, and I went around trying to turn them back on.
Yep, I remember that guy. That was an interesting character there.
That was when I noticed what I could see. bathroom, looking at myself. I saw that my hand was like iron up to the elbows. It was splattered on my face and as far as I could tell, it was not my own. A voice called for my son to look at. This time sounding a little bit more like him. And then, to my horror, the sound of a child's footsteps came towards me, and he called out again, closer this time.
Daddy, why are you lying?
He started to laugh, sounding utterly inhuman once again. He then appeared before me in the hallway outside the bathroom door. His eyes were black as coal.
For lack of better wording, yes.
I had a strong suspicion, whatever this thing was,
Hey, we got a key.
it was not my child.
And one of my Young's Vikings went down.
Hey guys,
Joy. Got another key, though.
just search Testing Experience search bar on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
I've got you.
The search bar on Spotify or Apple
You're good.
Podcasts.
Talk to nicely.
From the moment I bought the lottery tickets, it didn't feel right. I never spent money on lottery tickets and thought they were a waste of money. But a sign on the street corner caught my eye when I was walking home from work one day. Community lottery. Money received goes to a good cause. Current jackpot, $2,234,423. I was intrigued for some reason. It was a lot of money, and I didn't imagine a lot of people were playing, since it looked like a small operation. I went inside, and a small old man with a fine
On it.
mustache stood behind
On
the
it.
counter. The store looked pretty rough inside. The paint was peeling from the walls and the shelves. It smelled a bit like mildew and spoiled meat.
Oh, alright.
As I walked up to the counter, the light dancing in his eyes behind his round spectacles. He wore a distinctive
Well, he
black
didn't
suit.
fully fall. I was able to revive him before he died.
Welcome, welcome. What can I do for you?
That's actually why I was headed towards that red marker so with such aggressiveness, because I'm on a timer to revive them or they will full on die if I don't get there in time.
Good cause. $2 for one, $5 for three, $10 get you 7 tickets. How many you want? He was pulling out a crisp stack of tickets. Their faces appeared to have been inked by hand. But that wasn't possible, considering the size of the jackpot. I
Yeah.
thought. They had to have been stamped.
We're gonna return for
Yet
now.
each one looked unique and different. They looked like Rorschach tests, each one with a unique black blotch of ink. I was feeling lucky. I told him I would take as many as $50 would get me. Asked $10, so I ended up with 35 tickets. I flipped through them, amazed at how different each of them was. Good luck. Remember, all money raised goes to a good cause. The man's face was bemused. His mouth turned up at the corners into a little smile. Anything I should know? How do I find out if I won? I asked the man. His brow wrinkled. His face looked annoyed by this question. I've never played this lottery before. It seems a bit strange. Someone will tell you if you win. Don't worry, he said cryptically. I didn't understand how they would find me. But he refused to take any of my information. I left the store feeling like I had been ripped off. $50 for a handful of black and white tickets with cool designs on them didn't seem like a very good deal. I was experiencing buyer's remorse for the first time in years as I walked home. I was usually very frugal. I couldn't help but wonder what had gotten into me. A week later, someone came to my door. It was another old man wearing the same black suit, trimmed with gold as the shopkeeper. He was holding a ticket with a black abstract pattern on it, like a Rorschach test. He didn't say a word. He just held up the piece of paper and stood there, smiling.
stands exactly 25 minutes walk from the last house of town. You have to take the path that winds round the edges of the field. Then, when the route splits, you take the track less travelled. Head towards the mountains in the east until you reach the river, then follow it upstream for about 10 or 11 more minutes. That's where it is. Beautiful and unassuming. A careful little stone structure built over the river. I discovered it for the first time in the summer, and only found it by chance. It wasn't immediately obvious, the bridge. My dog, Bertie, was the one who actually led me there. I let him off the lead, and he made a beeline right in that direction. I had to rush after him when I became concerned.
Well, I'm gonna see where these resources will get me for what I just picked up there. I'm aiming to upgrade my cargo hold, though, is what I'm shooting for right now.
Don't worry. But yeah, so that's when we found the bridge. Bertie spent a happy half hour sniffing all around it and wagging excitedly, though in the summer it isn't particularly remarkable. It leads over the river to a small clearing, pleasant enough, nice grass, a big tree. Some rocks where it borders the base of the closest hills.
Up for some raiding?
I don't know what else to tell you really. It just leads to nowhere in particular.
600, okay.
And no one knows.
Damn, I need 150 more yet before I can do it. Alright.
Something changes.
One more time through then.
Just under a week ago, I was walking Bertie.
Provided there's one with moderate moderate defense levels.
As I sometimes do the track less travelled, arguing quietly at the
Yes, indeed.
I looked down at him, and he looked back up at me, and he whined a little. I laughed. Silly dog. What do you want, huh? But it was clear what he wanted to do. He wanted to head back to his favourite bridge. Alright, Bert. Hell, let's do it. So I allowed him to lead us back down along the river, being careful to keep him unleashed this time. Upon our arrival, I could immediately tell that something was different. There was a certain sense in the air, an atmosphere that just felt off. So, despite Bertie's pleas, I decided to deny his pleas to go sniffing about. I don't recall what I thought exactly when I spotted the anomaly for the first time. The tracks, I mean, the footprints in the snow. I think my first thought was probably modest surprise that somebody actually knew the bridge existed. But the real bizarrity was the fact that the footprints only went halfway across. Regular, boot-shaped footprints leading up and out to the middle of the bridge. And there they just stopped. They just vanished, as if the man was mid-step, and then simply dissolved into thin air, into wintry mist. The thoughts made me shiver, but I didn't take it particularly seriously. Though Bertie was desperate to go and investigate, I held him back. Instead, we went along our way. I couldn't stop thinking about it.
There we go.
Just let it go already. This is so stupid. The guy probably double backed on himself, away with his snowfall, with the prince. But these rationalizations failed to clearly explain what I saw. Did he just jump off, push himself up onto the side of the bridge in a single jump, and then leap right off? Why would he do that? Why would anyone do that? Maybe it was to never return to see me. And so, a few days later,
Run up!
Still a good ways off. Okay, let's see what we got here.
Why should I cross? So I can see my footprints.
Oh wow, that's gonna be a ways off.
Bedrooms aside. It's a trouble.
Shit.
I've no need to do such a thing.
Okay.
The story begins a day later, right here, and allow me to chill. I could zip it up and say
Real quick.
so it would require me to take my hands out of my pockets. And to be honest, I would bother to do that. I still can't penetrate to my right space gently in a sudden breeze, and I shiver, instead of suddenly refusing to remove my hands from my pockets. Ahead in the snow are the prints of a fox. They cut around in a rough circle and then head to the bridge. My eyes follow them up with little dents in the white. And sure enough, there they cease. At exactly halfway. Halfway. Only ever halfway. We'll see what happens with mine.
Damn it. Okay, not gonna work that way. Got it.
My breath clouding as I take my
Alright, so I'm gonna go back to the long ship and see what we got then.
kick to my face, and I don't slow or turn back. Trudging forwards, crunching in the snow, my footprints deep and obvious. Drawing closer now, closer to the middle. My heart, to my confusion, starts to pound. But I don't slow down. I just keep moving forwards until I've crossed halfway. Head down, I watch my feet continue to reach footprints in the snow.
Now, back to business.
I come to a quick stop at the other side of the embankment. There. Done. I did it.
It's gonna be, yep, this is gonna be a bit of a tricky thing here. Tricky thing to navigate, it looks like, just a wee bit.
Hey, hold on, you!
Damn, this is a narrow area.
I crossed the bridge, but looking back over it now, I see what appears to be a clearing on the opposite side. Clearing. I should have crossed it. Yes, there's the big tree, with some long rocks on the edges of the hill, the mountains leading away beyond. I start an alarm as I see that my footprints only descend.
Well, if I don't have to, then yeah, but I'm actually trying to find that green marker, and I'm pretty much popping up the map to follow it. But I was able to get unstuck once, by the way, honey. Well, screw it, there's a raid here, let's do that first.
Give me a hand over here.
Jesus.
Gotcha. Alright, 2-for-1 deal. I'll take it.
Considering the things that I've seen, I fear. Quickly gives way to embarrassment, then to frustrated curiosity. Why did I leave so quickly? It seemed nice, slow. Downwards. And As the night progresses, I struggle to get her out of my head. I end up thinking her in the corner of one of my notebooks. I wonder if she's trapped, or she needs help. Thoughts go round and round as the snow falls from the hills, and she dances through my dreams in the night. The second that the sun has risen the next winter morning, I left the house, heading right back to the bridge to Tangation. As I feel through something remembered, something exhilarating.
I did indeed. I'm also drunk as shit at the moment. Going up. Oh my god, if you were that drunk and doing that rapid of movement, that would not help your cause whatsoever. Oh my gosh. And he's done. Yep. It never gets any easier to watch. Just as awesome, just never any easier. I was drunk in the game there, and I was drinking out of that barrel in the cathedral there. Well, my character was, and he got a little drunk. Yes, we were in the middle of conducting a raid while he was drunk off his ass. Honestly, I was curious if I'd be able to fight as efficiently with that being the case. Did better than I thought I would.
Surrender yourself at once. Blares an angry mechanical voice. Stumbling past the trees, through the hedges, two tall and spinning things made of a grim, dark
So if the viewpoint looked a little funky for a second there, that was why.
They comprise their bodies in an exoskeleton fashion. They corrupt and whir, and their necks extend out to disappear into their slowly fish-looking heads. Made of a strange, charred metal though, of course. One of those metal monstrosities runs round an arm, and the tubes that connect its elbow to its body glisten bright in a sudden volcanic orange. After show my face, as a great breath of fire shivers from the creature's knuckles and torches the surrounding snow. I'm struck by a wave of warmth and turn back to face the way I'm going, running as fast as I can to keep up with the girl. What the hell? I shouted at her, but she ignores me.
Okay, yeah, we're going with it.
She grabs the cuff of my coat,
Let's go.
down towards the right. East over the river below. Down we go, then around corner after corner, my feet cracking the edges of the water's ice until the ground to my left levels out, and she knocks me up into the snowy shrubbery at the base of the nearest mountain. It isn't until she's brought me into the relative safety of a shallow cave. She lets me go.
Gotcha.
Watching her. She watches me back.
No. Sorry, buddy, you don't get that lucky today.
Eventually breaks the ice.
I don't think so.
I don't. So, how do you fight? Like, what do you use? Right? Well, I don't really get into many fights, but with my hands, I guess.
Ah, okay. Okie dokie.
You must have really strong arms. Why did you run away the last time? She asks. I just got... I don't know. She was okay yesterday as I was today. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday when I first came over the bridge.
That is one of mine. And that there are more enemies up there. Okay.
We have what we came for. Let's go.
Vigorously. I peer out through the cave entrance to the snowy world beyond. So, what the hell is going on? Where am I entered? Who are you exactly? She gets suddenly close to me, and I stumble back up against the cave wall. Her eyes are large and brown, and she has a smattering of freckles across the bridge of her nose and rubber cheeks. So, where's Mother from? She asks. No, not really. Deity, I guess, but I don't know if that's what you mean. She repeats, leaning back on her haunches. Weird. She peeks out the cave entrance. I think we're okay now. The machine folk don't tend to bother coming out this way. They just want to protect their holy site. Run a hand across my forehead. Holy site. Look, could you just tell me your name? I ask her. Kalela, she replies, smiling. You? Stan, I reply. So, how come you were watching the bridge? Well, it's kind of my job to wait for animals that come through and help them get to safety. The smoke drops. A person came through once, about a year ago, like you. He was one of the first creatures to cross the bridge after I took over the watch. My mood changes, and the atmosphere cools a little. I still think about him sometimes. He was a big old man, a big machine folk heading the south of them. He failed them. Something not working. I never did again. What did they do to me? I ask her. She sighs and looks away. They strung him up, Stan. It's a warning. I choose not to ask her to elaborate on this. Wakes up outside.
Since I see an option for a wider route, honey, I'm gonna take it. Because on the map I saw a thin route, but then I saw a wider route, and I thought, wider, please. Enough of that.
Beneath the gentle, watchful eyes of the mountains. She tells me about herself, about this side of the bridge. She's never been across to my side, apparently. Aside from the man she mentioned earlier.
Okay, let's see, where are we now?
About how the bridge and its gate between the worlds is something that the machines supposedly made themselves long ago, and is now regarded by these metallic beings as something of a sacred site. And machines believe that the bridge continues.
That's the wind!
Machinery that located in the trees and the angles at which the bridge looks out to the hills and mountains, all of critical importance. She scoffs a little when she says this, and I look across to her. The machine folk are hypocrites in their words. Outside of the sacred zone, wherever they go, they level and landscape and dig deep holes in the ground, pumping out fumes and bile, indifferent to the people who cross their paths at best, actively hostile at worst. If they really cared, pushing something behind her ear. She does this, though she steps back down. I tell them about my way back home to
Almost.
how machines aren't people, but things that people use. This is a concept she sees first.
So before I activate that, yep, that's the one I want. Wanted to be sure of that before I did it. Alright, let's do it.
She says, he knows the thoughts. How do you know? I don't have an answer for this.
Where do you think you're going? Oh, hello, I got a big bream there. Okay. That's one I don't think I've actually caught before. Okay, then. Now then.
She walks a little quicker than before, and the conversation dies with a struggle with a deep, foreboding paranoia. It's really a terrible
Give me a hand with this.
and we continue on and into the haze. It's not much further. Into the forest. Walking for about 20 minutes since leaving the little cave. Food. Just some food I brought with me. Special Christmas. Chicken drums. She put that into
I got you.
also, I'm pretty sure I'm not to expect this.
Just keep your wits about you. That's about all I can really say here. Okay. That's the last one I'll be able to open because now the cargo hold's full again. So now, let's see here. Hmm.
Go back, Ellie. Hey, I did what I was supposed to do today. She retorts, pointing out it's in. See, you have to cover the watch right now. Look, you see what I did? Go back there on the other side. Safely. You saved him. The man she called Lode looked down to me and raised an eyebrow. Good. He said he's a good machine folk have no respect for natural life. Every death in this valley is a stain on the spirit's own life. It's, good to meet you, I say to him. My name is Stan. He replies, since I was crossed over the bridge, we chose a less than opportune time to pass.
Hey guys. No. Nice try. Yep. Forgot cargo holds full. Nope. Pretty much, yeah. Chopped them, made a little sushi. Just not with the now dismembered arm though. That'd be gross. Ah, there you are. There's that marker.
By pine trees that are ringed with little lanterns, illuminating the gently drifting snow. If Christmas lights out loud, which colour the question is?
I think I see. Yep, I see what they helped me do. There we go. Took me a minute to understand what they were doing there, but I got it. There's that clue I was after. And now, since my cargo hold is full, we return.
So, I spent the rest of the book telling her all about it, about Christmas customs and things, and she gets more and more excited. The voice comes from her right as we walk. The slide is, to be honest, I kind of forgot he was there. Don't get too attached, Galena, he says in a low voice. You know, you'll have to go there. He stops to their commands.
Yay! I did indeed.
You approach the ridge of a hill, and the general volume of the group drums. The sound of the footprints is significantly dulled. Following the lead of those at the front, we crouch behind a series of large rocks, and Lurde knocks my shoulder. I look at machines from the doorway up to the front, where he points over the rocks and down to the ground below. See that? He says quietly. You take a look. Down there, in the valley between the hills and mountains, a dirt track has been ground into the earth and melted away all the snow. It winds its way through the hills, and making their gradual way along it are a series of shambling beings. The machines, it's plain to see. One of them looks just the same as the beings that attacked Kalela and I this morning. Another is of a similar height, but has no legs, instead churning up the snow and grass beneath caterpillar tracks. Great pools of dark smoke leak from pipes across its shoulders, as it does from the others. The third is far larger, a shuffling behemoth that moves on full large metallic legs. If I focus, I can hear its engine whirring from all the way up here, as it churns out those tarry black clouds. If I look to the right, I can see more trails of smoke slowly approaching from behind the hills. More machines, perhaps. Some of the group retrieve makeshift journals from their packs and begin making notes in a language I can't read, noting the angle of shadows of certain rocks with little sketches. I turn to Lode. Where are they going? I ask him. They're all making their way to the bridge. There'll be dozens upon dozens more over the next few weeks. We got word the other day about a small farm out in the east, completely leveled by the machine folk, to make way for a rest stop. He scratches his jaw. 3 killed, no remorse, corpses left for the birds. Rest stop? I reply. I don't get it. Why would a machine need to rest? Everyone needs to stop sometimes, Stan. Can't keep walking indefinitely. Kalela chimes in. But that's the whole point of a machine, isn't it? To just keep going until it breaks down? Maybe it's just a repair center or something that they've built. Lode doesn't seem to understand. What abomination they've built in place of the farm is not hugely relevant. He reaches out for my shoulder. Stan, a female human came across that bridge once, you know. Decades ago now. I was only a very young man myself. But she was able to help us. She was able to tell us things of the machines. She told us they would likely fail if knocked into water. And for the most part, she has proved correct. How many lives we've been able to save with her information. Looks out across the plains at the shouting machines. But it's not enough. Changed so much since then. I don't know what it's like on your side, but by all accounts, your dealings with these beings are numerous and deadly. It must be difficult fighting back without to scarf. Rustles the collar of my jacket. Kalela pulls the scarf a little tighter around my neck. Stan, says Lode, it's your turn now, if you would help us. Take a look at these creatures. Is there anything you can think to suggest to help us here? The more machine folk come through, the greater the threat. This is
I'm reading.
What do you say? Will you help? Kalela looks at me. And hell, what can I say but yes? I nod and reply that I will.
I might actually upgrade my hull, my young Viking hull instead, now that I think about it. Because, I mean, higher level Viking for hire will make this a lot easier to do. Yep. Oh, it's right on the dot, too, already. Awesome.
As Kalela tells me they do. But out here, they seem to care little for the environment. Just the machines in there.
Level 4, yes.
And its pipes capture the branches. Instead of using effort to entangle itself.
And there's no sign out front any longer, so I assume level 4 is the highest it can go.
I long to join the crew. One all skulls will herald.
Echoes across the hills.
What about you? Rank 5, hell yeah.
They seem fascinated by the concepts of cars.
And you?
Let us join the
Rank 5? Yes.
I will find him.
Rank 4? Okay.
Do they ever kill people? Well,
Rank 5, yes.
Together we'll force open the doors of the old father's home.
it's human error mostly.
Yes.
Ourselves for the deaths they cause. expected.
That's a level 3. I forgot. I didn't see that in time. Rank 5, yes.
Christmas desserts, Christmas music, bells, and holly, and all that good stuff. And she seems enthralled by it. I can already see the cocks turning in her head, wondering if she could emulate it here in her little village.
Up for some raiding?
If you want. I grin at her, and she grins right back with excitement. I would love that. Shh, Lode grumbles. Not so loud. Sorry, she whispers, looking at me and smiling.
Alright.
But all the while,
Let's
the
do it.
gears in my own head are turning too. I'm trying to think of a plan I can use to help these people. The image of the man who came before me, the black charred and broken skeleton on the cross. It's one that refuses to dissipate, and I can't help but wonder if any of their own have suffered such fates at the metallic hands of the machines. Back of the camp by the time will return. We didn't just stay on that hilltop all day either. We also trekked around, over the route back a little. We tried to get a vantage point of the leveled farm, but all we could see was ash and smoke. Lode didn't feel happy taking Coletta and myself any closer, not in the first outing. It's late, I say, as the moon rises in the sky. I should really get back. Do you have to get back tonight? Coletta asks me. You can stay here, you know, if you want. Time passes differently.
For the most part, yeah, pretty much.
As he sits back in his chair by the fire. I don't know if we'd see you again.
Like, this is pretty much the different raiding parties I have available, essentially, is what this is. I assume it applies similarly for the rest of my clan, honestly, though.
Do you have a plan? I pause, heart beating, as I look back into her eyes. She smiles, and I look away, embarrassed. Actually, yeah.
Alrighty, let's do this. And this is a new river, too. So I haven't been on this one before. Let's see how this goes.
You said that the machines dig holes in the ground. Is that right? She nods. There's a general murmur of agreement to the gathering. Do you know what that is? We have our theories, but we're not sure. No.
New river, new river, new river!
These machines, the ridge is a holy site, right? They make a pilgrimage to come here. Yes. So they come from all around there. Pilgrims can travel halfway across the world if they want to. These machines, some of them must come from really far away. I tried to gather my thoughts, express myself as best as possible. We all see the smoke they produce, right? The thick black clouds that spiral out from their bodies. Maybe they're running on some kind
Hey Google, turn bulb 1 red.
like engines do. And I don't see them.
Alright, changing the bulb 1 to red.
They must be topping up.
Hey Google, change bulb 2 to red.
Okay, changing bulb 2 to red.
There we go.
It's like something that lasts longer.
That's better.
Coal or oil. I struggle for a few minutes, trying to explain the concept of fossil fuels to them. But eventually, I bring the conversation back to the holes in the ground. These holes, I bet their minds makes no sense. They'll be mining for coal or oil or whatever to feed the pilgrims. I bet that's what they've done to the farm too. Mines.
Alright, ooh, we're in a snowy area for this one. Okie dokie.
Yeah, I guess. Stan, will you stay? Stay one more night and help us turn your ideas into a clear plan. I hesitate. Will my parents miss me for a night or two? Sure, I reply. I'll stay. Cleda wraps me in a hug, and I try to laugh it off. I sleep at night in a spare room, listening to the sounds of the forest and the sounds of Cleda humming through the That next morning, I wake, looking over a series of maps. But no holes. As they've started referring to them as are marked in certain locations, and raiding parties are set up.
First raid is a go.
Become a demolished farm. There's a construction line. If they finish it, I say out loud, then more machines.
Let's find out. Hey Google, change bulb 2 to pink.
Okay, changing 3 lights to pink.
It did. It turned him pink. Hey Google, turn the lights red.
Sure, changing 3 lights to red.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, apparently most any color we can usually do with it seems, son.
They hunt us. If they had their way, they would wipe us all out of the face of the planet. I can hunt a machine that enters into our realm, says another. If I'm threatened, I will strike button to go out and something a sentient being is built, is created. I don't know if I can. I'm said to be cursed, so be it. This human boy has joined our ranks, and I won't let this opportunity slip us by. I cannot wait for the wisdom of the next person traveling to attack for 40 years' time. I step forwards. I'm not afraid of any curse. They have little things me anyway. Machines are different from me from, so I'll be destroyed.
And he's out. Literally chopped his arm off along with the crossbow. Like the crossbow went flying with his arm still grasping it. Alright. There's gotta be something here I'm missing.
She wanted to come, and I told her that I wouldn't go without her. Across the lovely track, avoiding the paths of the trundling, running the machines, and then trails of smoke and leaking fluid. I would give her my green sweater into waves with leaves and twigs, and we hide ourselves at the edge of the machine's outpost. Ahead lies, as described.
Aha! There it is.
Surrounded by dark metal brickwork, caterpillar tread gears, and grinding cranes. Smoke pours from the the snow's unmelted, down there below. No plan, Verde mutters, to be nod, and split into groups. Our houses crawl across the edge of the hill to the into growth. The few surviving winter thorns scratching my hands as I This is insane, I think to myself. I'm doing it. Why did I allow myself to get roped into this man? Comes the simple response.
Give me a hand over here.
A series of machines, roughly humanoid. Rusted bits. They creak, crunch as they move.
Good hold! Let's get out of here.
Seeing the transfer of metal materials. Materials being moved across a series of threads.
That one's complete.
As it pass over the iron rails.
Let's see what else we can find here.
Nearest mountain. Verde and I set to work on a selected tree. Then I separate around the stripes wail towards the sky. Towards the angle to carpet and then we simply sit and wait. 2 hours it takes before Verde determines the wind loud enough for us to begin. 2 long wintry hours. We take turns to strike at the tree, carving out a groove on the side we wanted to fall. New saws too, carving out this trunk of tree in preparation. Once the trunk is fully cooked in the wood and ready with the arms aching, we start sawing away at the opposite side. It takes a long time, and I lose count of the number of frantic glances I make down to the pine below. But after a while, we have contemplated through the bulk of the tree. The sound of a high, shrill white whistle
Sail out!
The others are ready, just waiting on us now.
Raid number 2. Here we go.
Just for your chance. But with a final stroke of the saw, an enormous creak roars out from the tree and ripples around the trunk. In time, with a sudden drop of the wind. It breeze. The machines looking back at us. Alert, where's the siren my voice? Organisms present to the facility. You shout an alarm, and panic sets in. The machines lurch into terrifying activity, grinding and creaking until the monsters against the rock below begin to clamber up towards us, their black eyes shining with malice. A warning horn blares from the mine, and Murder looks back at us. Keep going, he shouts. Just bring this thing down. There's more than signal enough. Go. And he takes off down the side of the snow, spraying the busy lands with a crunch at the head of the nearest machine. There's a rattling of gears, and as cogs and oil are sent spilt out over the snow and stone, and the other machine alters its course. Flames burst from one of the spires and presses the park. I grab Clayla and bring it down to the ground as they pass by over our heads. I feel a rush of heat. Come on, I tell her. We finish the job. Right, she replies, grabbing another end of the saw, and feverishly we work to bring the tree down. It cracks beneath us, crackling as he slowly starts to break away from our contact. And at last, within earshot of crack, we can sense it. Just the direction we send it to, and seems to vibrate as the monstrous mine comes down. Watch out, we call out into the chaos. Burst the flames. The colossal tree crashes hard into the metalwork of the mine. The second similarly sized tree starts to fall too in the valley's opposite side. It falls down hard.
Well, it was better than running through it.
Great clouds of smoke.
Running through it would have burned for longer. I was kind of hopefully trying for like a rolling stop, drop, and roll type of deal. That's essentially what I was trying for. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I was going for. And that one's done. Oh shit, that was quick. Damn, that didn't take anywhere near as long as I thought that was going to. Alright, well, anyway, on to the next one then.
Past the scorched bushes, past the trees and rocks. But as the bridge comes
and the enemy reinforcements are coming in, so yep, that's gonna make things a slight bit tougher. That's okay though.
Try anyway. I run to the bridge and attempt to cross it. And of course, I'm able to do so. But my shoes tap against the stone.
Wait, there's one over there. Okay. Okay then. Hey, Cocoa. Hey, Cocoa. Is that you? Hello. Well, let's hope this one's a little longer. Cliffside Monastery. That usually has a decent amount of resources. Good. Gotcha. Cheeky little shit. Big boy's out. You see, like, you literally just club him in the side of the head with his own giant ass sword, and then just proceed to absolutely beat him down with his own sword by clubbing him in the side of the head. Doesn't even look like he's like slicing him. It looks like he's just using that huge sword as a club. Damn. Oh, nice. Nice. Creative use of shield. Ah, they beat me to it, okay. Anyway.
Give me a hand on this.
This is crazy. Across the bridge. She says it again. To cross. Get ambushed in the sea.
Damn, we cleaned them up quickly. Did you see how many were at that door hunt and how quickly cleared them out? Hey, Cookie. Yep.
I can see the rabbit that made it.
There we go.
This can cook. You bring me too quick for me to process all this. I've got empires. But the breeze whistles past my ears. Galenna's laugh is suddenly lost on the wind.
Okay. Didn't seem to be anything in here, but alright, whatever. They're trying to hide again. Again, I'm very appreciative of friendly fire being on, and right there's a big example of why. Go girl. Alright.
Switching and saving with Geico is easy, so you're free to ponder life's big questions. Like if a person can get discombobulated, is that...
Be a blessing right now. Visit Help Jews now.
Okay, they did one of those. Okay. Yes, Yep. I'm not sure, honey. I'd actually have to check here. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. Hey, good girl. Yes, honey. Hey, nice.
I feel great.
Yep, that was that one. Okay. There's my answer of how to get in there. It's understandable. Good girl. You're too good girl. Oh, daddy's good girl, yes. Daddy and mama's good girl, huh? Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Hey, boy. Yes, Daddy love you. Daddy love you, good girl. Yes, he does. Missed him. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, either way, I got him. It's a good girl.
Oh, that's straight.
Okay, what the hell did I miss here? So I clearly missed a few things here. Just trying to figure out what they are. We're already through here. I'm not sure what the name of the song is, but as far as I know, it's part of the soundtrack to the game, I guess. I freaking love it, though. Aha! There was something I was missing here. There we go. I had a feeling I was missing something, I just didn't know what it was offhand. Turns out that was what it was. Okay. Alrighty. Those clever little shits half the time. Like I love how intricately and how well they hide these things. But sometimes they're just little shithead smartasses about it. Still, you know. Either way, I enjoy it, so, you know. Yep, I think that might be my cue to call it. Yep, for the moment. Hey, honey, by the way, I'm probably gonna redeem a few things on this, and then, well, I might call it a night beyond that, because Cookie's kind of giving me this signal like, hey, Dad, it's bedtime as well, so, yeah. So after that's done, I'm gonna call it a night. I'll take her outside and call it a night then, pretty much. Good night. I love you too, honey. I'll text you in the morning. Good night. Good night, my love.